We're watching films on the toilet, because that's what dads have to do. When the movie's unsuitable for your kids, then pretend you need a number two. If you need a break from your family or spouse, there's a lavatorial picture house. Watch Terminator 2 while you're sitting on the loo. Enjoy the whole of Rambo 4 with your trousers on the floor. We're watching films on the toilet. How about you?
There's actually loads of famous people from Cornwall. There's Mick Fleetwood, Roger Taylor, Tandy Newton, Robert Shaw, Dawn French. Loads of them.
Do you remember when that speech Robert Shaw gives in Jaws, and he's talking about like the dead eyes? He was actually talking about his Cornish compatriots. He got dead eyes like a doll's eyes.
Do you remember when Cornwall came onto Robert Shaw's boat and bit him in half?
Oh God, it's horrible. It's the worst bit. And he does that thing when he goes, and Cornish pasty comes out of his mouth.
It's all like mince and
little bits of spud.
Yeah, onion and mince and potato just pouring out of his mouth. Disgusting.
Hi, I'm Jack Palance, and I got a couple of no-good cops who are driving me crazy. They're called Tango and Cash. People say to me, why don't you just kill them? Well, no, that would be far too quick and easy. No, I have something far more complicated in mind. You see, everybody knows Tango and Cash have iron guts. They eat anything, but me, even a plate of French fries go through me like a dose of salts. So all I have to do is get Tango and Cash in the same bathroom together, then blast out a recording of my violent toilet sounds, destroying their reputation as men with cast iron stomachs. Then, when their fellow officers have turned their backs on them, like the weak-bellied good-for-nothings they are, only then will I kill them both with a bomb. Beautiful.
I say watching films on there, and you say...
Toilet.
Watching films on there.
Toilet.
Watching films on there.
Toilet.
Oh, that worked really well, didn't it? Do you think it'll catch on?
No.
Do you think it'll catch on anywhere?
Yeah, changed my mind. It definitely will.
Where will it catch on?
Basingstoke.
Yeah, I reckon it will,
They
actually.
love that kind of bounce in Basingstoke.
Yeah. Yo, Basingstoke, city of the call and respond.
I say call, you say...
Respond.
Yay! I mean, you can't beat the original.
Yeah, welcome to Basingstoke. It says it on the sign, doesn't it?
On the sign it says, I say call, you say ...
Respond's about 20 metres down the road, isn't it, on a different sign?
Yeah, it's a separate sign.
Yeah, separate sign, yeah. Shout out to Basingstoke.
It's a great town. One of my all-time favourite towns.
Yeah? Give me your top 3 towns.
It'd be much easier for me to list places I don't like.
Okay.
Cornwall?
Yeah, not a town, but
I mean all of Cornwall.
Every town in Cornwall.
Do you want me to name every town in Cornwall that I don't like?
Yeah.
Redruth, Truro, Looe, Saltash, St Ives, Penzance, Newquay, Falmouth, Port Isaac, Foy, Polperro, Mevagissey, Bodmin, St Austell, Padstow, Boscastle, Tintagel, Charleston, St Maurs, Bute, Camborne, Helston, Wadebridge, Launceston, Liskeard, Perranporth, Camelford, Callington, Senor, Mullion, Polseth, Penryn, Torpoint, Porthcurno, Cadgwith, Delabole, Porthtowan.
Did you say every one?
That's all of them, yeah. Do you have a favourite town?
Plymouth. Plymouth Devon, of course.
It's the finest modern giant sundial you'll ever see.
God, mate, meet down sundial like 1 o'clock.
And that always used to be a problem because people didn't know whether you meant 1 o'clock the time or 1 o'clock the bearing on the sundial.
Exactly.
Well, you once said, let's meet at 11, and you were talking about on the sundial.
Yeah.
But of course, I thought you meant 11 at night. So as a 13-year-old boy, I went into Plymouth Town Centre at 11 o'clock. Got myself an education. That's the night I became a man.
It wasn't my fault.
So this is ostensibly a film review podcast.
Sort of.
As Ben keeps on having to remind me, he has categorised it as a comedy show.
Yeah.
Not as an actual legit film critique.
Immediately regretted it.
Yeah, after each record, he balls me out for half an hour saying, where the were the funnies? So, middle-aged dads, kids, wives, don't have time, watch films on toilet, the end. Yeah, that's long and short of it.
It was long and it was short.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this week we're going to be talking about 1989 film Tango and Cash, starring Sylvester Stallone's and the Kurt Russells.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, yeah. But first, last week, Eamonn, there was a bit of toilet news where you mentioned poems on the back of toilet doors.
Bards on the bog or something like that in the Shetland Isles. Yeah.
So I went on a little hunt to see if I could find any poems on the back of the public toilets in my area.
Yeah.
I couldn't find any, but I did find a notebook that had been left behind on top of a toilet. And I think the notebook belongs to some kind of wannabe rapper.
Okay.
On the front was written Big Turkey Neck. So I think that might...
That's his rapper name, I'm guessing.
Big Turkey Neck. That's his rapper name. And there's quite a few poems inside. I'm going to read one of them that I thought would be appropriate for now.
Okay.
I think he's actually very talented. If you're listening, Big Turkey Neck, and you'd like your notebook back, then just get in touch and you can have it. I hope you don't mind us sharing one of your poems or your songs.
Sounds good.
Obviously, I can't deliver it in the same way he might.
The flow.
I don't have the flow, but I'll do my best. So it goes like this. Drinking in the club with my mandem. Drinking in the club with my mandem. Smelling good. Paco Rabandem. Music so loud that I can't hear nothing. So many mans, yeah, the club be bussing. See a peng-ting with her peng-ting friends. Recognise her face, she's from round my ends. Do you know what a peng-ting is, Eamonn?
I don't.
I think it's an attractive young woman.
That's what I would guess.
So yes, see a peng-ting with her peng-ting friends. Recognise her face from around my ends. Said wagwan couple times at the station. Right now, beats too heavy for a conversation. I've got questions though, if I'm a be her boyfriend. Like, is she a homeowner? Or does she pay rent? Does she like to watch documentaries about true crime? Is she punctual? Will she arrive on time? Back to finances. Does she have a pension? Any investments, ISAs? I forgot to mention. I'm currently unemployed, but I'm looking for work. Used to work at Curry's PC World as a sale clerk. My boy Keith Davis hustles me onto the dance floor. Dat gyal's fine, fam. What are you waiting for? I'm like, bruv, I can't hear nothing, it's too loud. He just starts pointing aggressively at the girl in the crowd. Go over there. Show her who's da boss, man. That sounds quite threatening. I need a different plan. There's bare noise. Let's find somewhere quiet. How about we talk about it in the men's toilet? Keith Davis backs off, on his face a look of fear. So I lean in closer and shout into his ear. How about we talk about it in the men's loo? You know, like the Galdem do. Keith Davis is looking vexed, takes a sip from his drink. Next thing I know, we're standing by a row of white sinks, chatting to each other while we stay out of the way of the mandem side by side, urinating in a tray. Mans are looking at us like, why are you hanging about? 'Cause it's quiet in the bathroom, you don't even have to shout. Keith Davis asks me why man didn't go in for the kill. I'm like, once I know her better, trust me fam, I will. So we leave the men's completely packed out in the end, and Keith Davis says he'll get that girl's number from her friend. But he moves right past her friend, doesn't even take out his phone. Instead, he buys my girl a drink, and then he takes her home. But then I got a text, turned my frown right upside down. Next week, I've got an interview for a job at Richer Sounds. And then, in big 3 words at the end, shut your mouth. Right at the end.
Wow, that was a roller coaster ride. He's really good, and I can't say I feel so warm about his friend Keith Davis.
Keith Davis, unbelievable. Something tells me that's not the last we've heard of Keith Davis.
Well, I sincerely hope not. What tells you that, Ben?
Well, it was an A4 booklet that I found, and it's full to the brim with rap songs.
Well, maybe we'll dip into that. And Turkey Neck, if you're out there, then hit us up.
Yeah.
So, time for toilet news.
Hey! It's Time for the toilet news.
Toilets! Okay.
Okay.
Bog standard. I started making my own loo roll 3 years ago and only wash it once a week. Some people think it's gross. I don't care. Mum of 2, Kelsey Liverton, has told how her family has been using homemade reusable toilet wipes for years.
Oh.
3 years ago, the savvy 42-year-old decided it was time to reduce the family's excessive use of 288 loo rolls a year and make her own.
Wow.
She bought a square metre of terry toweling from Leicester Market and cut it into 50 strips. The grey wipes are still going strong today, despite being through 150 washes each.
Ugh. I mean...
Wow.
Okay, number 1. 288 toilet rolls a year. How big's her family?
Well, there's a photo of her with 2 girls, and it says she does have a husband.
Family of 4 are basically using a toilet roll a day? That's incredible.
Yeah.
I think maybe they need to change their diet rather than...
Is that your biggest takeaway from this?
Yeah.
This is what I feel a little bit grossed out about. Well, not a little bit, a lot. They have 50 individual wipes that they wash once a week. So therefore, in a family of...
4 of them.
So you get 12 each. You have 12 wipes to last you the whole week.
Yeah.
It's not enough, mate.
Not if they're getting through that many toilet rolls. I would think they'd probably get through all 12 in one sitting.
Well, yeah, exactly. The maths doesn't stack up.
No, it doesn't.
And they hold them up in the picture, and each of these bits of cloth is about the size of a regular piece of toilet paper, maybe a little bigger, but not much.
I'm hoping that their toilet is next to their washing machine, so there's no kind of transportation.
Well, this is the other thing. So it says that there's a little bin next to the toilet that they put them in. And she says, well, I put essential oils in there, and it's like lemon and orange or something. And that takes care of the smell. But it doesn't. As we all know, you can't mask a bad smell with a good smell.
Like a dead bird in there would probably be more helpful to get rid of the
The only way you
smell.
can mask a bad smell, as you say, is with an even worse smell. So are you saying they should be using dead birds to wipe?
Yeah.
They go they go out and collect up some dead birds. They can use like the wings and back for the main bits, and then if there's a little bit needs a bit of attention, they can always use the beak.
You know what? You might be onto something there. I mean, you've mentioned corn husks and frayed rope before. So, to be honest, a dead bird isn't that much of a jump.
Things like this, it just makes me despair a little bit, because I know it's people trying to do the right thing, but I feel like there's a line you have to draw. When those girls go to like uni or live by themselves for the first time, and they take out their bag of stinking rags and leave it in their toilet, their housemates are going to be like, what the hell do you think you're doing?
You never know. I mean, they're going to be students. They're not going to have a lot of money. They might be like, this is a money saver. We can buy 4 more bottles of Reef with the money we're saving on all that bog roll.
Hey guys, look, you've got 4 sheets each for the whole week. Don't use them all at once.
Do you think the daughters, or maybe the husband, have been secretly stealing toilet paper from public toilets? And if the mum found out, she'd go ballistic.
I hope for their sake they have.
What are you doing using that real toilet paper? I've got these cloths.
It'd be like people who are vegan.
Yeah.
Sneaking like a snake on the DL.
What? A snake?
Well, I mean, huh?
You said people who are vegan sneaking a snake.
Did I say snake?
Yeah, you said a snake.
Well, I'm not going to correct myself. Yeah.
Okay.
Vegans often find themselves craving the sweet taste of snake flesh. Well, you were vegetarian for a while, weren't you? You always used to go on about how you fancied a snake.
Well, I didn't eat snakes while I was a vegetarian, but then I don't eat snakes now.
But you often used to talk about it, about how much you'd fancy one.
Oh, God, I'm just really craving a snake right now. What did you mean?
Steak.
Oh, a steak.
It's like a vegan person sneaking a steak.
A snake steak?
Be a little medallion of snake meat.
Yeah.
Oh.
God. I know, that's the one thing vegans can't shift.
Can't resist. There's 2 things. They always talk about bacon, and the other one is snake meat medallions.
Yeah, that's right.
They never shut up about it.
You can get those fake snake meat medallions, can't you?
Yeah, but they're not the same, are they?
They're just not the same.
And just in the interest of full disclosure, this podcast is sponsored by Snake Meat. How does the jingle go, Ben?
How do you like your meat? Is it from a snake?
Snake meat!
That's it.
Yeah.
Snake meat.
In fact, I'm just tucking in to a delicious plateful of snake meat right now, and I can tell you it is absolutely delicious.
Go to snakemeat.vegas to buy your snake meat today.
Tell you what, Ben, me and you are like the hairy bikers, except we only eat snake meat.
That's it. And no bikes, no beards.
And we're not complete So, Ben, how many sittings did it take you to watch Tango and Cash?
Well, as you know, Eamon, I had to spend another night on the toilet. And having done it once, I knew that there was no way that I would be getting any sleep. So I watched Tango and Cash. One go. What about yourself?
Yet again, I was sleeping in the comfort of my own bed this week.
I've got a bed.
I watched this in 4 chunks.
Okay.
Yeah, not too bad. So, time for the big wee summary right now.
Oh, terrific. Yeah, maybe you could time it this week.
Well, I remember saying last week, Ben was absolutely furious because I forgot to time.
Livid.
Don't want to make that mistake again. So this week, I drank a pitcher of Archers and lemonade.
Oh.
So, if you don't know, Archers is a popular mid-90s drink. It's a peach liqueur.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a gateway drink for your children, this is perfect because it tastes like sweets. It's unbelievably sweet. It's insane.
Excellent. Yes, that's definitely the next step, isn't it? For your New Year's Eve celebrations.
In fact, that was the reason why my daughter was sick. It wasn't that she had loads of sweets. She shared the picture of Archers and lemonade with me.
I knew it.
So, as a result, I did a wee of 1 minute, 15 seconds.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yes, I'm always ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
So, Stallone is Tango and Kurt Russell is Cash. They're 2 LA cops who are so good at getting bad drugs off the streets that their names are on the front pages of the newspapers. Russell is the scruffy, downtown, loose cannon cop, and Stallone is the well-groomed Beverly Hills loose cannon cop. And crime lord Jack Palance is fed up with these guys ruining his business, so he decides to get rid of them in the most complex, drawn-out way he can think of, by framing them for the murder of an FBI agent. In a trial, they take a very generous deal and are told that they'll be sent to a minimum security prison, but Jack Palance manages to get them dumped in a maximum security prison with loads of criminals that they've helped to put in there. Oh no! Jack Palance has our heroes tortured and duffed up, and they figure out the only way to survive is to escape from the prison. So they do, quite easily. Back in LA, they start looking for the people who framed them, and eventually they head to Jack Palance's hideout in a futuristic armoured SUV with a massive gun on the side. Classic police work, where they take out the bad guys and save Stallone's sister, played by Terry Hatcher, who Kurt Russell wants to go on a date with. And in the end, they're heroes, because if you're an LA cop who's been framed, murder is fine.
So that was 1 minute 18. So just 3 secs over.
Oh, wow.
That was real good.
That was close, wasn't
real
I?
Good.
Oh, yay. Well, maybe next week you can drink, 2 pitchers of Archers and lemonade.
Well, next week I'll just not allow my daughter to have half of it.
Don't share it next week. You could drink a gallon of petrol.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the smell of petrol. I'm assuming the taste is good as well.
Tastes just like it. It's like bacon.
Have you ever seen when they lock down a petrol station, which is really super late, obviously, the attendants, they'll have a little look around, and if they think no one's looking, they'll put the nozzle in their mouth and go, and just have a quick blast on it.
Have a little huff.
Have a little huff.
Yeah.
They say it's just one of the perks of the job.
And it is.
And and the companies turn a blind eye to it. They just say, just the end of a shift, they don't condone it, but they'll just look the other way. I
hate when you fill up your car and you pull out the nozzle bit at the end, and there's always a little bit that drips out. And I think that's probably worth maybe 5 pence.
Yeah.
It rattles me. It bothers me.
Mm-hmm. What I usually do before I start filling up my car is I just give it a little squirt to make sure that the flow is okay.
Oh.
So I usually just do it on the forecourt floor. Like, yep, that's good. In it goes.
Yeah, that is good. Just spray it all over the pump.
Yeah, I want to make sure I'm getting my money's worth. I want to make sure that there's a good flow. So I'll just be like...
Eamon, do you spray it in your mouth?
Occasionally, a little bit might end up in my mouth.
A little huff.
Just a little taste.
I'm just going to get a little taste of the gas.
I mean, who doesn't drink a little bit of petrol every now and then?
A little bit of petrol. Keeps the doctor away, doesn't it?
Yeah, the last time I went to the doctor with an infection, She said to me, I could prescribe you antibiotics. And then she leant over and just whispered, here's an old trick. Just huff down a bunch of petrol. All us doctors do it. They'll keep you right as rain.
Are you sure this was a doctor?
It was a lady that I met on the garage forecourt. She was wearing a white lab coat, so I had no reason to not believe she wasn't a doctor.
White lab coat, wig.
And she had no teeth.
Yeah.
But I assumed she was a doctor.
Good. Well, if you decide to huff any petrol, let us know how that goes.
If you survive long enough, please let us know.
Okay, good.
Seriously, don't do it and then try and sue us. Because that was clearly a joke, wasn't it? It was clearly a joke. Idiots.
People do put bleach in themselves when they're told
Well,
to.
that kills COVID, though, doesn't it?
That's well, petrol does too.
Yeah. It cures all known ailments.
By death.
In fact, yeah, it kills you outright.
Yeah, best way to get rid of any
So
illness.
the COVID can't get you if you're already dead.
Good, perfect. So, Eamonn, how did you feel about Tango and Cash?
Raymond Tango, played by Sylvester Stallone. Very strange in a way. He was totally playing against type because he's quite preppy and upbeat and proper. Like the way that he speaks, it's quite. It reminded me of like how they used to talk in like those screwball 1940s comedies. It was kind of very sort of sharp like this, very sort of rhythmic.
Yeah.
I would say he just about gets away with it. And the reason he does that is because Kurt Russell is so charismatic. Kurt Russell is a far, far better actor. And I really liked, I think it's a cheesy 1980s action film. But actually, after watching Alien 3, which we did last week, this felt like a palate cleanser.
It is.
With Alien 3, it felt like there was so many depths to explore. Whereas this only had... It was all surface level, which actually it was quite pleasant after all that turmoil. So
Yeah.
I have to say, I quite enjoyed the performances and...
Well, Eamon, I think I feel quite differently to you about this.
Okay.
I feel like it was a complete mess. I believe that there were essentially 4 directors of this film. Initially, we had Andrei Konchalovsky, who was trying to make a more serious version of the film, but John Peters, the producer, got rid of him because he wanted it to be a spoof. Stallone took over for a little while. Then they got Albert Magnoli in to finish it off, and it was then handed over to Stuart Baird, who's this editing wizard, and he put it all together at the end. And I think it shows because it's all over the place. I thought that what they were trying to do with Tango and Cash is make them seem like 2 completely opposite characters. You've got Happy Stallone, who starts by firing a gun at a truck to get it to stop, which is ripped off from Police Story, the Jackie Chan film. And then you cut to Kurt Russell, who is scruffy and racist, but also a complete loose cannon cop. So they've kind of got exactly the same outlook on the world. One of them's just a bit smarter than the other.
Oh, it's interesting. I think because I've recently seen things like Cobra and Red Heat, they actually felt far worse than this. The reason I like this is it's an incredibly convoluted way that Jack Palance decides to take care of Tango and Cash. But at least it's different. It's not just police procedural with them following the trail of breadcrumbs to get to the baddie.
Yes, this is true. I would have liked it more, I think, if they'd been different characters. If it had followed, I suppose, the typical buddy cop structure. I feel like Stallone has the look of a by-the-book cop, but because I imagine his ego got in the way and he wanted to drop in that line about Rambo being a big wuss.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to go with that kind of character. He wanted to be a badass. And then you've got Kurt Russell. I didn't like Kurt Russell's character at all.
Was it the racism?
Yeah, he's a horrible man.
I don't know. I just really like Kurt Russell.
I do.
think he just has that. It's a cliche when people talk about the X Factor. He has it. There's something about his face. He's just very, you want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
He's just got something about him.
He is very charismatic.
He's much more
absolutely.
charismatic than Stallone.
Yes.
Ben, have you ever been outshone by a more charismatic friend?
Not recently.
Sure.
Well, I was thinking that our relationship was a lot like Tango and Cash's, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the sort of smart brains behind the operation. I live in essentially the Beverly Hills mansion, whereas you are the scruffy, outspoken dropout who lives in some kind of hovel. And you've got a gun with a massive laser sight on it that's bigger than a gun, haven't you?
That's right, yeah. That's what I spent all my money on. I think Jack Palance was definitely underused and not intimidating as a boss. Like, he can be in Shane and things like that. He
has mice in a box?
Yeah.
Discuss.
As soon as I saw that, I made a little note because it was just... I thought, like, it looks like a cigar box. It's like a little wooden box. So I thought, he's going to pull out a gun and kill one of these guys who's kind of challenging him.
That makes sense.
So he takes out a mouse.
2 mice.
Then he takes out another mouse. And then I thought he's going to say, I'm going to crush them like I crushed this mouse and do something horrible to the mouse.
I was worried about the mice.
But then he's actually quite affectionate to the mice. And he's like kisses them and nuzzles them. And then he says, no, then I'm going to put them in a trap. You could have reduced that scene's runtime by about 80%. Yes. If you just took the mice out of it.
Yeah, I think it probably should have ended when they say, what are you going to do? Are you going to kill them? And he says, no. Cut. Then we'll see the plan.
Yes.
Rather than, let's hear the whole plan and then see it play out exactly as you said it would.
Do you know what's weird? Is I've become so conditioned now that when you hear someone describing a plan now in a film, I automatically assume that's not going to happen because it's boring to hear the plan and then see it.
Yes.
You only ever now see a plan unfolding. In that instance, I go, I got a plan. Oh, Swiss, 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 Swiss.
Yeah.
And you can't hear what they just say Swiss over and over again for some weird reason.
Swiss, 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 Swiss.
And then you see the plan. So when you do hear someone saying, this is what we're going to do next, you know that's not going to happen because it'd be boring. But I think that's in a reaction to films like this where they go,
yeah,
here's what I'm going to do. And then sure enough, the next scene you see them do it.
So Breon James, who was in Blade Runner and Red Heat, he wasn't going to be in the film much at all. But then he decided to put on this ridiculous Cockney accent.
That's right, yeah.
Which Stallone really liked, and it ended up giving him a much bigger part.
I'll tell you what, talking about that guy, Brian James, you know me, Ben, I love a good goon. I love goons.
Oh, you do love a goon.
There's something so satisfying about a really good goon. Brian James, great goon.
Great goon death.
Yeah, brilliant goon death. This also has Robert Zadar. Don't necessarily know the name, but you know the face, which is the guy with the huge round jaw.
Yes.
And kind of like receding hair, which is always kind of tied back tight. A really distinctive looking bloke.
Yeah.
Both of them have great deaths. Brian James gets kicked down some stairs holding a grenade and he goes
yeah.
And Robert also gets kicked into some wet electricity pylons and he gets electrocuted.
He does, but you don't really see his death much. I think they cut it because they were afraid that the film would get a NC-17 rating like Cobra did.
Yeah, I read that they cut out a load of grisly bits, which is why there's a quick cut after most people get shot and
Didn't
stuff.
cut out Kurt Russell and Stallone's butts, did they?
Wow, they're only human, Ben.
Kept them in there.
Which one was your favourite?
If I had to rate them.
Rate, yeah, with a T.
I think Stallone.
I mean, I think Kurt Russell's got a more charismatic ass.
Just going back to Robert Zadar, he was in Maniac Cop. And again, like Brian James, he wasn't meant to be in the film much at all. But Stallone really liked his face, so kept him in there. I felt that he was actually used for a long-running troll joke by Stallone against Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, yeah?
Because he calls him Conan, doesn't he?
Ah.
He refers to him as Conan. He looks nothing like Arnie. No. But I think that was probably a slight. During this period, Stallone was definitely not as successful as Schwarzenegger.
No.
So I feel like his trolling was probably misjudged.
Yeah. Another subtle joke that I missed and subsequently read about is they're like doing something that's quite time critical. And Kurt Russell says, oh, wow, do you want to go and get coffee in a Danish? And Stallone says, no, I hate Danish. Which I thought was a weird thing to put in there at that critical time. But then I read that it's because Stallone had just been divorced from Bridget Nielsen, who was Danish.
That's right. That's why I put that in there. Again, quite a spiteful joke. I was thinking of how we're obviously a very successful podcast, but I thought maybe I could try trolling a much more successful podcast.
Okay.
Much like Stallone did. So what I did is I wrote some tweets to the Joe Rogan podcast. Haven't had any response from any of them. So I started off by saying, your podcast stinks. Then I said, how's all that Spotify money working out for you, Joe Rogan?
Haha, good one.
Yeah, good one, right? I said, your podcasts are really long. Ours is only about 40 minutes, so... ...
Yeah, that's brilliant.
You're always banging on about health supplements. We don't need them.
And did he get back to on any of them?
No.
He's thinking about it every night, that's for sure, whilst he's going to bed. So maybe it is too long.
Before he does his press-ups and has his, mushroom coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 hours, Joe. I think it is a little long.
Yeah, Little self-indulgent, don't you think? But he doesn't have really long poems in his podcast.
Well, yeah. But then that is the only thing we have got. I mean, we're literally desperately trying to pad out to 40 minutes, aren't we? So when you were reciting that poem, I was just punching the air. I was just like, thank God, finally some decent content.
I mean, it wasn't my poem. It was Big Turkey Neck, so I'm not going to take credit for it.
Well, I know. You and I are incapable of writing anything that's halfway entertaining.
No, exactly. We just have to steal it, find it in public toilets.
Yeah, this entire podcast is actually a word-for-word verbatim rip-off of a Polish podcast, which is called Oglądanie film au toileś, which is just the Polish for watching films in the toilet.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard it.
Well, I mean, you have heard it, Ben, because we sit on Google Translate transcribing each of their episodes once a week. I mean, even that whole Joe Rogan bit was stolen wholesale from a bit that they did last week.
Yeah, they did. Although they sent it to a very famous Polish podcaster. Yes, Szyman Nowak. He's massive in Poland.
Oh, yeah. He's got one of those big round red heads that suggests he might be on a ton of human growth hormones.
Yeah.
And just remember, we're talking about Simone there. We're not talking about Joe Rogan. You can't legally, you have no grounds to sue us.
No.
Because we're talking about Polish guy.
And we know you're listening, Joe.
Yeah. So it's a nice try. Oh, you're rubbing your hands together with delight and your face was getting really red.
Yeah, I'm going to take these guys to the cleaners, he says.
Like, oh, no, we're talking about the other guy, Sismon.
Pulled the jiu-jitsu mat out from under your legs, didn't we?
Been owned, son. Why don't you go and hunt some more venison and butcher the animal whilst we go to Waitrose?
Woo! So, it seems like we feel quite differently about this film.
It's not that I disagree with anything that you've said, because I do think you're right. I think it's because... I think maybe it's that I don't care about this film. With Alien 3... It's a film that's so close to my heart because I love that franchise. I had a huge amount to say. Whereas this is a film I'd never actually seen before, which is why I chose it in the first place. And the reason was I just was in the mood for some nonsense 80s action, and that's what it delivered.
I was disappointed with it. It's, tonally, you don't quite know where it is, and I think that's because of the many cooks. I mean, the idea that these cops are on the front pages of the newspapers, that's almost like a kind of Naked Gun thing. It's so ridiculous.
You were in the newspaper recently, weren't you?
Well, yeah, I solve crimes all the time.
I was thinking more about the giant marrow that you grew.
Yeah.
There's a picture of you holding this marrow in both arms with your head poking over the top.
That's right.
And you're kind of pulling a little bit of a sheepish looking face as if you're saying, oh, look at this.
When we moved into our new house, the giant marrow was growing in the back garden, and the people who we bought the house from were like, oh, can you keep an eye on the marrow? Let us know if it gets bigger. And then they called back a few weeks later and said, oh, what happened to the marrow? I said, oh, it stopped growing. It just rotted. Actually, it grew huge, and we were in the paper because of it. And then they tried to call back, I'm assuming about the marrow, but we blocked their calls.
Good for you. It's a really confusing headline though. There's a photo of you holding the marrow, but the headline accompanying it, the photo, was Snake Meat Baron captured at last.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't know that I actually do this from prison.
I mean, we don't like to reveal too much about our private lives on this podcast.
No.
Thus far, you know that Ben looks exactly like Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
And that I am the talking face of a sheep's bottom.
That's true, yeah.
That has an alien's head.
Yeah.
But that's all you know about
That's all the
us.
people know.
I feel like you could probably pick me out of a lineup.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty easy to spot me.
Although, a lineup of people who also have heads on sheep's bottoms? Possibly not.
There are a few of us.
Your cool brother's got his head on the back of a ram, though, hasn't he?
That's right. And it's not an alien head on the ram. It's a horse's head.
Yeah.
Which is like the sexiest beast.
It's a stallion's head.
Stallion's head, ram's body, my brother's face on its rear end.
Yeah. So cool. So,
yeah.
Much like Tango and Cash. In fact, no, nothing like Tango and Cash. We've come from different sides of a coin. They are essentially the same side of the coin. Just one of the coins is in Beverly Hills and the other coin's in downtown Los Angeles, but both heads.
Is there a question?
Oh,
or
yeah.
Are you just explaining the coin metaphor?
Would you flush it or would you fish it out? Yeah.
I would fish this out, which I know is in the category of liking it ironically. Just kind of a bit of a throwaway guff, like Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I'd flush it. I thought the plot was absolutely ridiculous. I didn't enjoy Kurt Russell's character. The action was weak, hacked to pieces. Wasn't really for me.
That's fair enough, mate.
So I flushed it away.
Down
but
it
that's
goes.
it's all good. We can disagree on these things, but we can still be friends.
I'd like to throw this over to the listeners, because one format beat we did discuss is if we can't agree on if the film is flushed or fished out, so you have to have a street fight.
Oh, okay. It's funny.
So I'll put that to the listeners if you'd like to see that.
I
Then
don't remember us discussing that.
we talked about it at length.
Is this the royal we again?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You get to choose a weapon.
Oh, right.
So length of chain or a plank of wood.
Could I bring a gun?
No, it's street fight weapons only, Ben.
Okay.
This was actually the bone of contention, wasn't it? This is why we never got past this. Because you insisted on wanting to bring a gun to a street fight.
I always do. Maybe you could
Yeah.
list some street fight weapons for me.
Sure, piece of cake, Ben.
Go on then.
You think you're trying to trip me up with that.
No,
but
not at all.
I know my way around. Plank of wood,
Good.
length of chain,
Oh, right, yeah.
crowbar, baseball bat.
Okay.
Why did you make that face, Ben, when I said crowbar?
Yeah, no, I'll accept it.
Oh, thank you. If you didn't know, Ben is the part of the advisory council for street fight weapons.
Yeah, I mean, I know all of these. I was just seeing if you knew.
Some people are disappointed that I didn't list nunchucks, but they're not street fighting weapons, are they? They're actual weapons.
Yeah.
So the whole point of a street fighting weapon is it's a normal object you use for the purpose of fighting.
Hammer?
Hammer is perfect. Giant marrow, possibly.
That would explode on someone's face. It'd be quite impressive.
Well, what you could do, the most effective way of using a big marrow is you squash it,
Yeah.
jam it on top of their head, so it stays on their head, so they can't see anything. They're just surrounded by marrow.
And then blows to the body with a crowbar.
Then you just work their ribs, and they're like, oh!
Eamonn's doing a real good duffing.
Yeah, it's a great duffing face
good.
then. I looked exactly like Jake LaMotta, where he's punching the prison cell wall.
Why?
Brilliant, Bob. Here's an Oscar.
Okay, well, let's see if we have to do a street fight.
That's good. So last, but by no means least, it's competition time.
Okay.
So this week, category is buddy cop movies. So
Yeah.
Ben and I have both chosen 5 buddy cop movies. We each have 3 guesses for what the other one's chosen. Person with the most correct guesses gets to choose the film next week. The other person, like a big lame-o, has to sleep on their bathroom floor.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I was looking back and realised that we're tied for winning streaks of 2 each. So if I win this, then I take the lead, my friend.
Okay,
So no pressure.
fine.
Losers go first. So off you go.
All right. Well, I'm going to start with Popeye Doyle and Cloudy Rousseau from The French
I
Connection.
didn't put that down, actually.
Oh, for God's sake.
And I do love The French Connection.
I know.
Had I thought about it, I would have put it down. Soz.
This has happened twice.
Huh?
Happened last week as well. Great.
Okay, I'm going to say for you, Training Day.
No. I am a big fan of Training Day, Harris and Hoyt, but I did not pick them. I don't think they have the best relationship.
Not really buddies, are they?
Not really buddies. Okay, I'm going to go for Edmund Exley and Wendell White from LA Confidential.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes!
Really, really great film. So good. The first time I'd seen old Russell Crowe
Oh, yeah.
in a film, I was super duper impressed.
It's a great
really,
film.
Really good. Okay, this is a duplicate. I'm going to say The Other Guys.
No, I like that film. It's funny, but I did not pick them.
Well, if you get this one, then you're guaranteed a win.
Well, this is a duplicate as well. Riggs and Murtaugh from Lethal Weapon.
Nah.
Oh, man.
I think it's good, but it's not. I kind of feel that when you look back at Lethal Weapon, it's a lot of the things that we slagged off about this film, you see.
It is quite daft. I like the characters, though.
Well, I think it's one of the case of one of those things now that it was such a successful formula, it almost immediately became a cliche. It was almost like too successful for its own good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say... If I don't get this, then you've won.
Okay.
I'm going to say 48 Hours.
No. Yes. I could be respectful and not gloat like you
Gloating's
did
the best
last
bit.
week. But you lose, sucker.
Yeah, okay.
You lose.
Oh, well, I didn't guess a single one of yours, so tell me what you had.
No, you didn't. That was very unsuccessful this week, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
I had Riggs and Murtaugh from Lethal Weapon. I had Schmidt and Janko from 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
Because those movies are great. They're very funny.
Oh, okay.
I had Marcus and Mike from Bad Boys.
What?
The first movie is great. Number 2, no thank you. The most recent one is okay. I have Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt in 7. And I have Johnny Utah and Gary Busey in Point Break.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't go highbrow this week.
That's what put me off my stride. I think you're gaming the system.
Okay. So it's not pretentious enough, is it?
Oh, well, I'll start picking all these random films that no one's ever seen to throw me off the scent. Then when he finally starts closing in on me, change things up. Pretend I like films I've always hated.
Don't make excuses. I won, move on. What were yours?
Okay, so I had 7 as well.
Yeah, good choice.
LA Confidential, the other guys, Hot Fuzz.
Oh, yeah.
And The Guard,
yeah,
which is Brendan Gleeson and Don Cheadle. It's really, really funny.
Yeah, it's a good film.
Directed by John McDonough.
Yes.
He did another brilliant film called Calvary, which is all about the Catholic priesthood, and it's very dark subject matter, but really funny as well.
Oh yeah, that's a great film.
But me liking great films apparently counts for nothing in this game.
Sorry, Eamon's in a grump because he has to spend the night in the toilet.
Well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be doing it the dignified way and not watch the whole of the next film whilst I'm on duty, because, as we've discussed, the Code of Laws recently ratified by the Watching Films on the Toilet Council specifically states you're not allowed to do that.
Stupid. That's a stupid thing. What if you can't sleep? Which you can't.
Do something else.
Like what? Look in the dark?
Just do something else, Ben. It's a punishment. It's not time for you to get your errands done.
Paid all my bills.
Well, yeah, I can say when people are sent to prison, it's not a chance to do their taxes.
Renewed my National Trust membership.
No, you have to sit there and just think about your life.
Oh, well, my life is great, so that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for listening again.
Whoa. Ben, you need to tell us what the next film is. You got way ahead of yourself there.
Well, next time we will be discussing the 1999 American supernatural action horror film, End of Days, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by Peter Hyams.
So, Ben, well, we'll get into this next week, but you are a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a big Arnie fan. Used to be a much bigger Arnie fan.
It's actually that you've just shrunk.
Now I'm tiny.
You still like him, but you yourself have shrunk.
I'm just much smaller. Much like my head when I went on that diet.
Paddy McGuinness diet.
A tiny little head.
All small.
But there's a special place in my heart for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Good stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
well, you can catch us on social medias.
That's right.
Our handle is @FilmsOnToilet. And the good way, Ben has a good way of remembering that, which is just thinking about anyone saying @FilmsOnToilet.
Yes, that's how we remember it. Yeah, that's right. Nothing to do with Arnold Schwarzenegger saying it.
And what our Facebook is...
Watching films on the... You can't say toilet. You can watch this on YouTube if you want. And maybe like it or subscribe to it or something.
Yeah. We also have an OnlyFans account. So if you... I won't go into the details, but look us up on that. I mean, just pay us enough money, we'll do anything.
Wow, good. Eamon, very quickly end this podcast, please.
Keep flushing.
Bye.